the Royal Stockholm Opera House called the Kungri Opera in Swedish. I love this. I love operas, ballets, Latin music and salsa. So this is like I love this place. The Stockholm Opera House called Kungliga Opera in Swedish. I love this opera house. I'm almost a regular at the opera house, of course, which plays operas, ballets, and some concerts. So I'm usually regular at the operas and ballets. And today is the showing of Giselle. Giselle is this ghost theme thing in which shows the love in a simple village, and two simple. Very simple love, and in the first half, she discovers that the prince, the person that she fell in love with is a prince, and she dies heartbroken. In the second half is the kind of the witch hunting kind of ghost kind of story in which the group of ghosts avenge their love, and Giselle is saved from that act because her love is undiluted and pure, and so on. So she peacefully rests in peace, and the prince is saved. So this is a great opera. Giselle has been around from 1841, so mostly around 195 years now. So great ballet. I love this ballet. This is called the Kungliga Opera, or the Royal Opera House in Stockholm, and today is the showing of this in this opera house. We obviously there are operas, ballets, and concerts, and this is the main auditorium. So it's a spectacular auditorium, like other great opera houses in Europe or in other parts of the world, especially North America and so on. Europe has always these spectacular opera houses, and today is the showing of the ballet called Giselle. This is a very, very popular classical European classical ballet dating back to 1841. Was the first premiere in Paris, and it's called basically called Giselle-Storyline, Wilis, which means Giselle or the Wilis, and this is actually basically a romantic ballet, and it's a ballet pantomime, and it's in 2 acts. Any ballet opera usually is in multiple acts, like you have 1 act, 2 act, 3 act, 4 act, that way, and each act will have a set of scenes. Generally scenes means the background scenario may change, or the setting may change, or some situation or circumstances may change, and so this is a masterwork on the classical ballet, and so it was first performed in Paris on 28 June 1841, and with the Italian ballerina Carlotta Grisi as Giselle. So this was like a triumph right from the beginning. It became very popular, and basically this is a ballet which has a kind of a ghost-filled theme, actually, right? So it's one of this we say in some of the movies as well, right? Generally when the love doesn't succeed or something, to unite the lovers, or they come out as a ghost or demon, or that kind of stuff, right? And then it usually take the revenge or vengeance, and then they settle. Usually their spirits settle, or they are at peace or something, that kind of. So this Giselle ballet is something like that. And this ghost-filled ballet tells the tragic romantic story of a beautiful young peasant girl called Giselle and a disguised nobleman named Albrecht. These are the two main the hero and heroine characters in this movie. So they fall in love, but when the true identity of Albrecht is revealed by his rival Hilarion, Giselle goes mad and dies of heartbreak. That's what is the ending of this Act 1. We are in the interval now. So after her death, she is summoned from her grave into a vengeful, deadly, sisterhood of the Wilis, the ghosts of unmarried women. Actually, there is a kind of an association of a ghost of unmarried women. Basically, their tying point or bonding point is they die after being betrayed by their lovers. So their primary goal is to take revenge on in the night by dancing men to death, but to exhaustion. Right, so they will because they have been betrayed by their lovers. They are united in this, kind of a common theme or agenda of avenging their lovers, because they will actually kill their men to death by dancing them to death. Actually, that's kind of revenge, death by exhaustion, right? So their queen is called Myrtha. They are led by Myrtha, the queen of the village. They target Albrecht when it comes to mourn the dramatic, and the queen, they target Albrecht because Albrecht is the lover of Giselle, right? And then when he comes to basically mourn at Giselle's grave, because the first act ends with the death of Giselle, right? But the great love actually frees him from their grasp, because Giselle has truly loved him, and then that's basically takes them away from their grasp. They gain their power in numbers as they effortlessly move through the dramatic patterns and synchronized movements, and they control the stage with their long tulle dresses and stoic expressions. So the first half is about this village setting, in which the royal family comes, and then he's the royal prince is exposed basically, and then Giselle dies at the end of the act 1. And then control the stage with the long dresses and the stoic expressions, creating an ethereal atmosphere that builds as they gradually close in on Albrecht. By saving him from the village, Giselle also saves herself from becoming one of them. So basically the ballet ends with Giselle doesn't end up being one of those vengeful Wilis, or So this was this is basically the synopsis. And if you really look at this was performed it is called Giselle-Storyline, and the music is by a French composer called Albrecht. In each of the ballets, ballet is basically music with singing, music with dancing, and opera is music with singing. So in ballet you generally do not have any word expressions or singing or anything. It's just the music, and the dancers are telling the story through the dances. That's why this thing, it's so fantastic. I mean, I really love ballets actually. It's so nice, right? And then if you really look quickly into the acts, the first act, or act 1, what happens is ballet opens basically with on a sunny autumnal morning in the Middle Ages, and then there is a grape harvest that's in progress. And grape harvest, and Duke Albrecht of Silesia is a noble young man. He has fallen in love with a shy and beautiful girl, a peasant girl called Giselle. And despite being engaged to him, but Bethilde, the Duke of Courland's daughter, he disguises himself as a humble villager called Lois to court the enchanting and innocent Giselle, who knows nothing of his true identity. So Giselle really doesn't know that the person is a duke, is a nobleman, and he's already engaged to Bethilde, right? So he disguises himself as a humble villager called Lois to court the enchanting, who knows nothing of this identity. And with the help of the squire, he hides his fine attire and hunting horn and all those stuff. So he pretends to be a very, very normal man, right? Because he loves Giselle. And sword, before coaxing her out of the house to romance her as the festivities begin. So we can imagine something like, the Middle Ages, kind of a German kind of a setting, that area, right? The wine harvest is going on, and that season. So what then happens is Hilarion is a local gamekeeper, and he is also in love with Giselle, and he is highly suspicious of the newcomer who has won her affections. So he tries to convince her that the viewer cannot be trusted, but she ignores his plea and warnings. And then her mother Myrtha is very protective of Giselle, and she has a weak heart that leaves her in delicate health basically, right? So she is very worried, right? In a way, she discourages a relationship between Giselle and Lois, thanking Hilarion. And Hilarion would be a good better match for her, because he's from the same place and everything, and disapproves of her fondness for dancing due to the strain on her heart, right? So what happens is a party of noblemen seeking refreshment following the rigors of the hunt arrive in the village with Bethilde among them, because we know that Albrecht is already engaged to Bethilde, right? So Albrecht hurries away because he gets worried, because he will be identified, right? Knowing that he will be recognized and greeted by her. So what he does is he runs away, he hurries away, right? Exposing him as a nobleman, because he will be exposed as a nobleman. The villagers welcome the party, offer them drinks, and perform several dances. Bethilde is charmed with Giselle's sweet and demure manner, knowing her relationship with Albrecht. So Giselle is honored with Bethilde's offers for a necklace as a gift. So Bethilde basically offers Giselle a necklace before the group of nobles depart. The villagers continue their harvest festivities, and Albrecht engages to dance with Giselle, who is named as the harvest queen. So there is something as naming as the harvest queen. Probably they give her a bouquet of flowers or something like that, right? And or a from a tiara kind of stuff, or flower tiara, or leaf tiara kind of stuff. Hilarion interrupts the festivities, so he has discovered Albrecht's sword, because he has hidden the swords and his garments and vestments and so on, right? So and then presents it as a proof that he is really a nobleman who is in disguise, who is engaged with another woman. So using Albrecht's hunting horn, Hilarious called back the party of the nobleman. So he blows the horn to indicate that disguise Albrecht is in disguise. So Albrecht has no time to hide and has no choice but to greet Bathilde as his fiancée. All are shocked by the revelation, but none more than obviously Giselle, because who is in love with Albrecht already, who becomes inconsolable. She cries inconsolably when faced with deception, knowing that they can never be together. Right? She flies into a mad fit of grief. This is very well represented in the ballet. All these steps are really extremely well presented in the graph, in which all the tender movements are shared with Lois. Flash before eyes. Then she begins to dance wildly and erratically, ultimately causing her weak heart to give out. She collapses and she dies in Albrecht's arms. Hilarion and Albrecht turn on each other in rage. So they try to have a sword duel or something, and then Albrecht frees the scene in misery. The curtain closes her by Myrtha reaps over the Giselle body. This way is exactly the end of the Act 1, and now we are in interval. So in the original version, taken up again recently by the Royal Ballet probably, Giselle stabs herself. There is a stabbing herself, which explains why her body is laid to rest in the forest, in unhallowed ground, where the Wilis have the power to summon her. Yeah, because a small twist kind of, which is where she pokes herself with a sword and then stabs herself. So because she is in unswallowed ground, where the Wilis have the power to summon her, because otherwise probably Wilis would not have the power to summon her, right? And then most modern versions are sanitized, and this may or may not be there in some act. I believe in this, what I had seen at the end of the Act 1, she tries to stab herself with the sword. So this is included in this version of the opera. On the ballet, sorry. So now we get to the Act 2. In Act 2, what happens is, late at night, Hilarion mounts Giselle. Hilarion mounts Giselle falls his grave, but is frightened away by the arrival of the Wilis, because Wilis now they are hunting ground, right? They act in the night, and many were abandoned. So basically, Wilis is the ghostly spirits of maidens betrayed by their lovers. Many were abandoned on their wedding days, and all died of broken hearts. So commonality among Wilis or their aim is that they all have died of broken hearts, and their agenda is to avenge, or take vengeance or vendetta on their lovers, basically. So that's them. The way of taking vengeance is to dance, making them dance to exhaustion, right? Yeah. So they are led by their merciless queen Myrtha, dance and haunt the forest at night to exact their revenge and on any man they encounter, regardless of who may be, forcing their victims. That's the reason even Hilarion is worried when he's at Giselle's grave, because he wants to go back to his origins, because these Wilis may come after him as well, right? Because it doesn't matter even the man, but they will encounter any man that they encounter, they will make him dance to death and kill him probably. So Myrtha and the Wilis rouse Giselle's spirit from the grave and induct her into their clan. Yeah, so there is an induction into their clan, because they are these Wilis are a group of vengeful men filled with hate, right, against their lovers, and but they will attack anybody who is in their path and in that night time, right? So Giselle. So what happens is, Albrecht arrives to lay flowers on Giselle's graves, and he weeps with guilt over her death. Her spirit appears, and he begs her forgiveness. She, because her love is undiminished towards Albrecht, and begs her forgiveness. Yeah, because of Giselle, her love undiminished, unlike her vengeful sister. Basically, Giselle forgives him, right? Forgives Albrecht, because his love is undiminished towards Albrecht. Right? She disappears to join the rest of the Wilis, and Albrecht desperately follows her. So meanwhile, the Wilis have cornered a terrified Hilarion. Yeah, I mean, they use their magic to force him to dance until he's nearly dead, and then drown him in a nearby lake. And then they spy Albrecht and turn him on, sentencing him to death as well. So he pleads Myrtha for his life, but she coolly refuses. Giselle's pleas are dismissed. So what happens is, but then she coolly refuses. Yeah, because Myrtha is a ruthless queen of the Wilis, right? She doesn't really excuse him, sort of. Yeah. Giselle's pleas are also ignored here, right? Dismissed as and he is forced to dance until sunrise. However, the power of Giselle love, so here kind of a destiny or nature comes into play, because that kind of overrides even Myrtha, the queen of the Wilis, because Giselle's pleas are also because they are also dismissed, right, by Myrtha, the queen of the Wilis. However, the power of Giselle's love encounters the Wilis magic and spares his life. So other spirits return to their graves, because at the daybreak they must kind of return to their graves, right? Their actions and activities are mostly at night. So encounters and spares his life. So because of Giselle's power, Giselle's love, actually the power of Giselle's love saves his life. So counters the Wilis magic and spares his life. So because it's undiminished and pure love. The other spirits return to their graves at daybreak, but Giselle has broken through the chains of. So that's the reason Giselle is not unlike the other maidens, because her love is undiminished pure love, and she has broken these chains. That's the reason she was able to break these chains of vengeance, and she is lying in peace in her graveyard. Yeah. So because she has broken through the chains of hatred and vengeance that control the Wilis, and then thus released from their powers, and so she will not haunt the forest anymore, unlike her other Wilis sisters, right? After bidding a tear farewell to Albrecht, she returns to her grave to rest in peace. So this is how the whole Act 1 ends with. Here there are only 2 acts. So Act 1 is Giselle dies, and then Act 2 is Giselle returns to the grave, but she doesn't carry the same the vengeance like her Wilis sisters, because of her undiminished and pure love, even that conquers the Wilis magic, the Wilis hatred and vengeance powers, right? And this is a kind of a tragic and a happy, and both a tragic and a kind of a positive ending, because tragic because of course Giselle's is dead, and she is returned to her grave, but positive because Albrecht, she doesn't carry the hatred and vengeance of her Wilis sisters, and also Albrecht is also relieved that way, right? So the background is like this is called as an opera, romantic opera, or a kind of a pantomime opera, right? Romantic is called a pantomime because it's a very distinct style, actually. The kind of a ghost emerging and then taking their vengeance. Even in the modern films and everything that we see, right, whichever are these ghost demons kind of stories, right? You see, generally a pure love would have been obstructed by the villains in some form or the other, right? And then generally the ghost or the demon or whatever called them, the spirits or all this come back to haunt them and take their way, extract their vengeance, basically. I mean, that's how you see so these, because operas and ballets were the precursors of modern day films, right? Modern day films are many times influenced by operas, and so we see these kind of themes coming back, and that's the reason this was like the French Revolution was going on. After the French Revolution, right? This is in 1841. French Revolution is 1789 to 1799, right? So brought sweeping changes basically to the theatres. So banished over the ballet. So there were some restrictions on the ballets or an artistic form of expression in which you can't represent the general problems of public or bureaucracy or aristocracy, and then so they have to kind of change the style, right, of everyday people, real places, and historical and all this stuff. So the 2 ballets caused great excitement in Paris in the 1830s. The Meyerbeer opera, Robert Le Diable, and Foz had the first performance, and ballets have bananas. So if you really see the ballets La Sylphide or and then 1832 debuted in Paris. Stockholm is also a very famous ballet, and it's about a beautiful sylph who loves James. Young Scotsman tragedy occurs after. So whenever we see these themes of pure romantic love, unadulterated pure love, and then their love is interrupted or disturbed or destroyed by some villain or some evil people, then you see this theme coming back of vengeance basically, right? Vengeance generally which occurs in afterlife or in the form of spirits, demons, these what do you call this, ghosts, or all this stuff. So this is one of the kind of the this Lasselfide is also like something like that. After dallying in the woods, the sylph dies when her earthly lover uses a bewitched scarf to trap her. And this ballet through the and then you see. So what happened is so Giselle is something also like that, so, right? And if you really there were a lot of, obviously it's a great ballet. It has almost it's 195 years now almost. So yeah, after that we are still seeing the ballet. Giselle is one of the most premier ballets on the planet, right? And then what happens is because of that, if you look at the first performances or it's in Paris, because it was in the opera ballet in the Paris, and then what happened was and then coming to the music, right? If you really do look at the music of this, Adolf Adam was a very popular writer of ballet and opera music in early 19th century. So because this is 1841 debut, right, in Paris, he wrote with great speed and completed Giselle in just about 2 months. He completed this great ballet, the music for the ballet. The music was written in the smooth song-like style called cantilena, because there are many forms of and this style is well known to music lovers and lovers from Bellini's Norma, Donizetti and so on. So this is, and it uses something known as the leitmotifs. Leitmotifs is a recurring thing. For example, in Giselle, you see whenever the royals are appearing or departing, or a same music comes in. The music is the same when it's the same circumstances or the same situation, or some people is appearing. If, for example, if some treacherous villain is coming into the picture, some dangerous music will be playing, right? So these are all employed in modern day films as well, because they play this leitmotif. So leitmotif is also the theme of Wagner's Ring Cycle and so on. Wagner's operas. This is, of course, it's a ballet, because that immediately conveys that whenever this royal music is incoming or outgoing music is played, you understand that the royals are coming, the nobles are coming in this movie, in this ballet. So that's leitmotif is one of the greatest right. And then waltz, the music of the waltz is also one more stuff. Another leitmotif that is he loves me not. Yeah, I mean modern day movies and this Netflix series, series like Netflix, Amazon and so on, net series, we find that in the romance section sometimes the woman picks up a flower and says he loves me not. That is also kind of in Giselle also wonders if he loves me not, kind of. So that is another leitmotif, right? And in this ballet several leitmotifs have been used, right? So this is a short musical phrase that is associated with a certain character, event or idea. Adam's leitmotifs are heard several times throughout the ballet. There is a leitmotif associated with Giselle, another with Albrecht. Hilarion's motif also makes whenever Hilarion enters, it suggests that the fate theme in the fate, right? And other leitmotif, as I was telling you, that he loves me not, the tearing of a flower test in Act 1, which is heard again in the mad scene in the Act 2 when Giselle offers flowers to Albrecht. The Wilis have their own motive. So it is heard in the overture in Act 1 when Myrtha tells the story of the Wilis, and in the mad scene it is heard again in the Act 2 when the Wilis makes their first entrance. The hunting horn motif also makes certain. This motif is heard when Albrecht is expressed as a nobleman. So the music is very original and very critic noted, and it's really, really nice. I mean, and then additions to the score. So we feel that this great ballet. I love ballets actually. I love ballets, operas, European classical European ballets. I love them. I mean, I don't know, they're so magical. I mean, ballets, operas, Latin music, salsa, and shows, and of course movies. So great shows and movies. So the ballet is one of the really I love the ballets. I mean, the people who dance in the ballet, the choreography, right? It's so fantastic. Like there are different kinds of choreography that are involved in this ballet. It's called développé, then arabesque, poses, then gliding steps, hopping steps, turning steps, leaping steps, and so on. So they to express and to express, there are deliberately a lot of. I really love the ballets. Be it Don Quixote is one, Giselle. These about these the tens of ballets that are like European classical ballets. They're really absolutely fantastic. I mean, I can't say how much I love the ballets. Right? I mean, and especially watching these ballets in a great European, these golden opera or houses, or because many are named opera houses, but they also play ballets and concerts. So generally they will be playing operas and ballets. Recently in London, they renamed the Royal Opera House as ROH, as Royal Ballet and Opera, because to include the ballet in the name, because Royal Opera House London has two companies, right? Royal Ballet and Royal Opera, and music, of course, providing music, the music team, or the provides to both the opera and the ballet. That's the reason they changed the name from ROH, Royal Opera House, to Royal Ballet in 2024, Royal Ballet and Opera, RBO. ROH to RBO, right? Because to include ballet, because every great opera house, especially these European opera houses, style opera houses, right? They play both ballet and operas. Of course, there are also concerts, but concerts generally they are sometimes not in the main hall. A few concerts may also happen in the main hall, but more generally many concerts happen in the other subsidiary halls that these great opera houses and ballet houses have. Because for example, in the Royal Opera House London or Royal Ballet and Opera London, there is the Clore Studio, then there is one more hall kind of, so which is not the main hall. Main hall is this golden thing. Any great European house, especially in the capitals, in the great European capitals, you'll have one of these opera houses, and then in, of course, big countries, other big cities also will have this, like of course Paris, the Opera Garnier Paris is, Stockholm Opera is also modeled on the like Opera Garnier Paris, with a great golden foyer. And so it's really amazing. I mean, spectacular. I love these operas actually. Like if the halls are like this, I can go to an opera or a ballet every evening basically, right? And then this is the great ballet. Giselle is one of the most masterpiece classics. And then there are the ethnic elements, because ethnic music, dance, and costumes are really great. A great part of and at the time Giselle was written, people thought of Germany when they thought had a waltz, and because of the waltz of the German, Giselle makes her first entrance at the music of a waltz, and the audience would have been at once, right? So at first so the ethnic elements like waltz, right, and then sets and costumes, the great sets, and the set is really nice. The village set, very plain, rustic kind of a village environment. I love whenever those simple kind of elements, right? I imagine a great European village, and somehow the villages in Europe are so nice and so spectacular that it's amazing. I mean, I can't really say those. I just like to have a small simple house and live there. Actually, the villages in Europe, like they're so beautiful, and this Giselle represents one of those simple villages in any places in Europe. Simple village, and I love those European villages. I mean, in France, in Italy, Spain, wherever you go, I don't know, in Bulgaria, in everywhere in Europe, Greece, everywhere, those villages are simply amazing, so beautiful. I really love them. So Giselle is about such a simple village girl, and she falling in love, and then she dying because she couldn't bear her lover already being engaged and he being a nobleman. And then even though the kind of the Wilis tried to extract revenge, she falls out of the Wilis league because of her pure unadulterated unextinguished love. And then it's really spectacular. I really like it. I don't know, many of these, like Giselle or the wayward daughter, what is it called, there's one more ballet called La Fille Malgarde, which means the wayward daughter. It's fantastic. It's also a very simple village theme, a harvest theme. I really love, I like it so much. I mean, these representing these village, small, a simple life living village in Europe in the Middle Ages. Europe is like a fairy castle, yeah. And I don't know, I love the whole of Europe. I don't know, somehow I love it so much. And then these simple villages in Europe, if you go to the vineyards in France or somewhere, those so small villages are so beautiful. I don't know if I have the I just want to have a small house and live in those villages. I don't know, they're so nice. I don't know, in Italy, France, Spain, I don't know, this Germany, everywhere in Europe, the Czech, and this the whole of Europe. I'm talking not one country or one region. Some of those regions are absolutely beautiful, and the Giselle kind of represent. The costumes are so nice, the sets really are so nice. Simple village set. That's where I was talking so passionately about the village, right? Village sets, harvesting, and it was so nice, seeing the wine harvesting kind of, with the wine barrel they showed, and the spectacular. I mean, the opening was with a with a translucent screen, and then the village kind of the setting, people at the harvest dancing, then the harvest queen concept, right? Because Giselle is also chosen as the harvest queen, because probably and then she's garlanded or something. They showed it mildly. So kind of, it's really nice. I mean, those simple village life, and the harvest season, people are happy in the harvest season. Generally, in many ballets we see, whenever there is a harvesting season, people are really very happy. That shown is in a form of a dance. So this is a very fantastic ballet, and all-time ballet, Giselle. It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic.